Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to dive back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we're going to be discussing Chris Evans and his potential return to the Avengers and MCU franchise. Is he going to be returning? There's been so much speculation online over the past few years that he would return, that he won't return, and nobody really knows about the future of Chris Evans in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, it looks like now we may have a definitive answer. The actor himself, Chris Evans, has come out and made remarks regarding his return to the MCU. So we're going to dive into this article, break it down, and see what Chris Evans himself had to say. So this comes to us from Comic Book Movie. Avengers Doomsday, Chris Evans denies recent report that he's set to return, quote, "I'm happily retired." So Chris Evans, obviously one of the pillars of the MCU, much like Robert Downey Jr. It feels kind of barren, it feels kind of empty without his presence being there, and it's very, very sad if this is true. We don't know if he's actually meaning this or he's lying. Remember what Andrew Garfield did for years, lying that he wouldn't be back as Spider-Man, but obviously he came back. So Chris Evans here saying that he's happily retired. Is he actually being honest? There's no way to really tell, but we have to take it at face value. If the actor's saying it, then as far as we know that this is true information, that he won't be returning. I cross my fingers that he will, but you know, if he says he's not, then we kind of have to take it as gospel for the meantime. So let's get into this information here. So late last year, The Wrap reported that Chris Evans will make a return to the MCU for Marvel Studios' next big event movie, Avengers Doomsday. Fans expected Evans to show up as Steve Rogers in Avengers Secret Wars anyway, but it was nice to finally have confirmation that the OG Sentinel of Liberty would be suiting up for action once again. This wasn't the first time we heard that plans were in place for Evans to return to the role, but the actor has always denied the reports and continues to do so. In Esquire's profile of our new Captain America, Anthony Mackie, the Brave New World star revealed that he reached out to Evans after news broke, but was met with a denial. So, quote, "I didn't know." This comes from Anthony Mackie, by the way. "So, I didn't know. I talked to Chris a few weeks ago, and it wasn't on the table then, at least. He didn't tell me it was on the table because I asked him. I was like, you know, they said that they're bringing everyone back for the movie. Are you coming back?" Evans told his Avengers co-star that he was, quote, "happily retired," and Esquire got the same response. Quote, "That's not true though," he said of the reports of the MCU return. "This always happens. I mean, it happens every couple of years ever since Endgame. I've just stopped responding to it. Yeah, no, happily retired." So that's basically what he's saying in his latest quote about him coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's saying, that's not true. He said of the reports of his MCU return. "This always happens. I mean, it happens every couple of years ever since Endgame. I've just stopped responding to it. Yeah, no, happily retired." So, I mean, that's what he's saying. But again, he could be lying, like the whole Andrew Garfield thing, like I already said. He could just be lying and lying and lying, and then he could potentially just randomly pop up in one of the next Avengers movies. We really, really don't know, and it's hard to tell at this point. But I always say, if it comes from the actor's mouth and they say one thing, we have to take it as kind of the de facto statement on kind of what's going on with this information. I mean, he's saying he's not coming back. As far as we know, he's saying it, so like, I take it at face value. He says he's not coming back. So as far as I know, whenever I talk about this information with friends, family, anybody else online, this is what Chris Evans says. It's coming from the actor himself who plays Captain America. He says he's retired. So I take that as fact for now. Until anything else kind of proves me otherwise, then it has to be taken as a factual statement for the meantime. But like I say, there's always that thing in the back of our minds as Marvel fans that he could be lying. We just don't know. But at the moment, I'm going to take it as gospel for the meantime. So the last time we saw Rogers, he handed his iconic shield over to his friend Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie, after first deciding to remain in the past and live out his life with Peggy Carter, obviously played by Hayley Atwell, in Avengers Endgame. We had assumed that if Evans did make his MCU return, that he would be playing a multiversal variant, but that's not the only possibility. Evans appeared as Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, in Deadpool & Wolverine. When he showed up in Deadpool & Wolverine, I lost my damn mind. I thought he was going to be Captain America. Then he shouts "Flame on," and he turns into the Human Torch. And I was just like, what? And like, I just lost my damn mind. In Deadpool & Wolverine, and there have been rumors that he may not be quite done with his old Fantastic Four role. So will it be Rogers or Storm or someone else entirely? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, innit? So even if Chris Evans did come back, even if he is lying about his statements that he's retired, which he could well be, like I have to keep saying, he could well be. Is he going to come back as Captain America? Is he going to come back as kind of like the Hydra version, like the evil version of Captain America, Agent Hydra or whatever he's called? I can't remember what he's called. So he could come back as Captain America. He could come back as the evil Captain America. He could come back as Nomad. He could come back as Johnny Storm. He could come back as someone completely different to nothing to do with Captain America. So, you know, nothing is off the table if he was to return. But at the moment, he's saying he's retired, so I take it at face value. But guys, I would love to know what you think about his comments here. Do you think he's lying? Do you think he's being honest? Or do you think it's somewhere in between, that he is potentially coming back, but not as Captain America or anything affiliated with Captain America? I would love to hear your thoughts about what he said. As I say, could be lying, could be telling the truth. It's impossible to tell at this point. But guys, jump in the comment section and let me know what you think about this news. As always, thanks so much for being here. Make sure you hit that like button and consider becoming a subscriber of the channel if you haven't already. It goes a long way to supporting the content, so I always appreciate that. And as always, I will see you in the next video.